Welcome to your first essay assignment of the year. Woohoo! For this assignment, here's your topic. It says you need to include a heading, which is your name, date, and class. Write justified in the upper right corner of your paper. And the title of your essay, which is centered at the top. And it's not the title of the book that you read. You're going to actually title your essay. Okay, both of those are required at the top of the first page. Here's your real task. Choose 3 characters that you feel most affect Victor and Frankenstein, and write a 500 to 750 word essay that supports your choices. Include a 1-paragraph summary, the same one that we've been practicing, and 3 body paragraphs. Each of these will be a 6-sentence paragraph, and a conclusion paragraph, which I'll teach you about today. Here's a brief outline of this essay. It will have 5 paragraphs. The first is the 1-paragraph summary that you're familiar with by now. Then you're going to have 3 6-sentence paragraphs, each one describing how a different character in Frankenstein is influential or somehow affects Victor. Okay? And while I'm talking about that, choose the most influential character as the third one. You always want to make your third argument the strongest. And then your 5th paragraph is going to be the conclusion. Okay? Here is your rubric. It has the same rubric for the 1-paragraph summary that you're used to. You get points for including the tag. You don't need to say title, author, genre. But when you talk about protagonist, you do need to say in your paragraph, the protagonist is. Okay? His conflict is. Got to put those things in there. Hopefully you've got that by now. The only thing different about this particular rubric is that for the first time, you're now adding a thesis statement at the end of the 1-paragraph summary, because you need to let your reader know which 3 characters you're going to be talking about in the rest of your essay. And I'll show you how to do that with my example. All right, so one more point this time. Again, to show which characters you'll be describing. And by the way, you want to put them in order when you list them, but I'll show you that. The rest of your rubric, that was worth 20 points? 20 points for the 1-paragraph summary. That's almost half of the grade. The first body paragraph, which is your 2nd paragraph, right? Everybody with me? You're going to make a claim stating that one of the characters affects Victor. You're going to find 2 examples with quotes from the book to support your claim, and you're going to explain each of those and have a conclusion sentence. It's your basic 6-sentence paragraph, and you get 6 points for that. Same thing for paragraph number 3, which is the 2nd body paragraph. This is character number 2. And same thing with your body paragraph number 3, your 4th paragraph. This is for your 3rd character. Again, make it your strongest example. Finally, you have a conclusion paragraph. In the conclusion paragraph, you're going to restate your thesis, and you're going to make a connection to another piece of literature. Probably at some point during reading Frankenstein, it made you think of something else. Okay? And you need to put that connection in here. And again, I'll show you how to do that. You also need to give some kind of a personal response. So you can connect it to something you've experienced in your life. You can connect it, you can give your opinion of the novel, or maybe your opinion of a specific story element. You thought it was a very disappointing resolution. I don't know. Up to you. You can talk about the theme of it. You can talk about one of those concepts that we talked about in there. Boy, the book sure was full of a lot of... Okay, you can do that in the conclusion paragraph, which is also worth 6 points, because you should probably have about 6 sentences in there. And like before, you can lose points if your mechanics are not clean. So make sure you do editing. And I'm actually going to help you with that a little bit, which you'll see. Okay, then the whole thing is worth 44 points. All right, so there's your rubric. This will be attached to your assignment. Not such a big deal. If you are someone who wants more than an outline, if you want a graphic organizer, I've prepared one of those for you, which I've also included this assignment. It starts with the same outline. Just to remind you, first paragraph is the 1-paragraph summary. Second is the first body paragraph, talking about the first character, all the way down to the 5th paragraph, which is the conclusion. And then here is where you can write down notes if you want to. All right? I used the example of Star Wars before. I'm going to do the same thing for this assignment to keep it simple and consistent. So I would write down Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, written by George Lucas. The genre is science fiction / adventure. Protagonist Luke Skywalker. We've been through all this before, right? Remember that? The only thing I would add differently, after climax and falling action and resolution, we already talked about him being a hero. My thesis statement would include my 3 characters that I want to talk about. And in order of not as influential to influential, I'm going to put Leia, Darth Vader, and finally Ben Kenobi. Because in seeing that film as much as I have, it's obvious that Ben Kenobi has the most significant effect on him. All right? So this is what you're adding to the 1-paragraph summary that's different from last time. When I get to writing my first paragraph, it's going to be about Princess Leia, right? I mentioned her first. So my first body paragraph, I would say something like, Leia's character affects Luke greatly. That's a horrible first body paragraph. It's a horrible topic sentence, but it makes a claim and I can go back and fix it later. All right? I'm just going to throw down some ideas right now. And then I would come up with some evidence from the film. I would write down how that would explain. Okay? To keep this short, let me just show you my finished example, which is mostly finished. I didn't finish everything because I didn't want to write a full essay. I don't have to. You do. And here's my abbreviated 1-paragraph summary from the same series of videos that I showed you at the beginning of the year. In Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, a science fiction adventure film by George Lucas, the protagonist, Luke Skywalker, becomes the ultimate hero. In the exposition, Luke is a bored air farmer who dreams of adventure, yada, yada, yada. We go through all the rising action, all that. His resolution is that he has saved Princess Leia, saved the galaxy, and has become the hero to everyone. Here, my friends, is my inserted thesis statement, which I put at the end of the 1-paragraph summary. Remember, this is new. Throughout the film, there are 3 characters who have a lot of influence on him. Princess Leia, Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Notice how I've put them in order. My first body paragraph is going to be about Princess Leia. My second body paragraph is going to be about Darth Vader. And my final body paragraph is going to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right? Just a quick reminder of how to do the 6-sentence paragraph. I'll give you one example with my character, Princess Leia. Here is that horrible topic sentence that I wrote that makes a claim. I will go back later and probably make it a better sentence when I do some editing. So I've highlighted that topic sentence in orange. My first evidence, which I've highlighted in green, is she becomes the driving force behind his leaving Tatooine when Luke discovers the distress message that Leia sends through R2-D2. And then I include what the character says. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. That was in Act 1, Scene 3, page 6. I don't know if that's really where it was. I don't have a copy of the screenplay in front of me, so I'm pretending. But when you're doing this, you would want to say for Frankenstein, Volume 1, Chapter 3, page 15, okay? That's how you're going to cite this when you're doing the whole novel. You don't want to say just the page number at this point because there's too much information, all right? Then I'm going to explain my evidence, which I've highlighted in blue. When he sees her message, he decides right away to change his life and leave home to rescue her. That's a pretty good effect she has on him, right? He sees that she needs to be rescued. Now he's leaving the planet to go rescue her. Here's my second piece of evidence, highlighted in green, just like my first piece of evidence. Later, while Luke is trying to get her, Han, and Chewie out of the Death Star, Leia makes a quick decision to help Luke when Lucas writes, and this time I'm not putting a quote from a character, I'm writing down what the writer wrote. Leia grabs Luke's blaster and shoots a hole in the wall. Act 3, Scene 6, page 13. I'm going to explain how this evidence proves my claim, highlighting it in blue so that you can see the explanation. While the group of men, who are all trying to rescue her, is trapped by stormtroopers, she steps up to take action and save them all. That's a pretty good effect on the character of Luke Skywalker. And then finally, we have the restated thesis inside our conclusion. So I've highlighted that in orange so you can see how it connects to the claim. Without first inspiring him and then later rescuing him, if it had not been for Leia, Luke would most likely have remained an air farmer. Not a great sentence. I could fix that. But there's your basic 6-sentence paragraph for one of my characters. I'm going to do the same thing for my other 2 characters. My second body paragraph, that's my third paragraph, is going to be all about how Darth Vader affects Luke by being his antagonist. He forces Luke to do things. He has a strong effect on him, right? My third body paragraph would be about Obi-Wan. I think his effect is the strongest because he's the mentor. He teaches him how to use the Force. He decides once Luke has enough power that he can disappear, and he lets Darth Vader strike him down. He has a very strong effect on Luke. That's why he's my third one. So let's pretend those two paragraphs are written in here in the same format. And now we're going to get to the new paragraph this year, and that is the conclusion. And remember, in the conclusion, we're looking to restate the thesis. Do that first. Here's my restated thesis. Luke encounters three influential characters throughout the film. Leia, the damsel in distress who becomes a helper. Darth Vader, the antagonist who compels him towards greatness. And Obi-Wan Kenobi, the mentor who begins to show him the ways of the Force. That is my restated thesis statement. See how different it is from the one that I did at the end of the one paragraph summary, right? I mentioned all three characters. I gave a little more details this time, probably because I recognized that I needed more words in my conclusion than I did in my one paragraph summary. Your one paragraph summary is going to have plenty of words. I've also given another example. I've kind of explained my thesis statement first. I said these three minor characters each have a major effect on him, and each of their roles is important in the hero archetype. I go on to say, without any of them, Luke could not have become a great hero. Google doesn't recognize that this is the correct spelling of effect. This effect means to have a change on somebody or to make something change. The one that's spelled with an E is like a special effect, which Star Wars is full of, but that's different. Then, the next thing we're supposed to do is make a connection to another piece of literature. Got to be literature. I know, let me say this now. I'm using a movie as an example because it was what I did earlier and it just made it easy since not everybody would have read the same book necessarily. Anywho, you're writing about a book, so you're going to make the connection to another piece of literature. All right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a book. It could be a poem, it could be a short story, some other kind of literature. So for me, my connection was this story is similar to J.R.R. Tolkien's trilogy, The Lord of the Rings, where a small, unsuspecting hobbit becomes the hero of his land. And it's 3 books, that's why it's called a trilogy. I go on to explain this connection a little further. Both Luke and Bilbo Baggins are not at all like heroes in the exposition of their stories, but with some help, each rises up to meet an overwhelmingly difficult challenge. And if you don't know The Lord of the Rings, you should read it. Really good books. So that's my connection, both of these sentences, to another piece of literature. The last thing you need to do in your conclusion is give some kind of a personal response. Lots of choices here, as I already mentioned. Connection to something that you've experienced in your life, your opinion about something or the whole novel in general. Perfect place to put these in, right at the end of your essay. And I finished mine with, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, is an enjoyable film to watch. Notice I didn't say I like it. You want to try to avoid using the word I at any time throughout this whole essay. You don't need to ever need to say the I, but we're going to get to that again next week too. Okay? I'll help you edit that. And after all the audience is taken through, they can't help but cheer for Luke at the end. All right? So I'm letting the reader know that I liked it, that other people like it, that it's a very positive film to see. That sums it up. You are doing the same thing, but you're doing it for Frankenstein, and you're going to choose 3 characters from Frankenstein. The graphic organizer is optional. I've shared it with you, so you can use it if you'd like. I know many of you will. Some of you won't. That's just fine. Please, if you have any questions, let me know.